everybody, Kristen from A Mindful Mom. As you know, I believe homemade is best, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Today we're making Instant Pot Beef Stroganoff. We're gonna cook up the noodles in a creamy homemade sauce that's filled with ground beef so that we can get this meal on the table fast. Let's get cooking. We're gonna start by hitting saute on our Instant Pot, and I'm gonna add in about a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of olive oil here. That's just because I'm using really lean ground beef today. To our oil here, I'm going to add in 1 pound of lean ground sirloin here. This is 90-10 fat percentage. You can use any ground beef you like. You could use ground turkey, you could use ground chicken even. If you used like an 80-20 ground beef, you're gonna be left with a lot of oil that you're gonna need to drain off. But if that's what you have, use it. So we're just going to let our meat brown up and caramelize here. And with our meat here, I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of finely minced onion there, just for a little extra flavor. If you don't have onion on hand, you don't need to add it. So we're just gonna let our meat saute up here, and we're gonna break it up into little bite-sized pieces. You can use a little meat smasher, masher, whatever they call them, thing, or you could use just a wooden spatula. It's looking just about there. So what I'm gonna do is add in 1 teaspoon of minced garlic and about 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Mushrooms are completely optional, but they are pretty traditional in stroganoff recipes. And even though my kids don't like mushrooms, they like the flavor of this stroganoff. They were so excited to hear it's what's for dinner tonight. And they just pick around the mushrooms, but it does add a nice beefy flavor. It really enhances the beef. So we're just gonna saute this just for, I don't know, about 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, just to let our mushrooms begin to soften. We don't wanna let our garlic burn, but because there's so much meat and mushrooms in here, we're gonna be fine to let it saute for about 2 minutes. Okay, that is looking really good now. Our beef is nice and caramelized and brown. Our mushrooms are golden. If at this point you had a lot of fat that had rendered off, you would want to turn your saute function off and drain off the excess fat. I don't have hardly any fat in here because I used really lean beef, so I'm good to go. So I have my saute function still on. And to my inner pot here, I'm adding in 1/2 cup of dry red wine. Now, if you do not drink alcohol, you can use additional beef broth here, low sodium beef broth, 1/2 cup. Or if you didn't have any wine on hand, you could use a dry marsala if you had just made like chicken marsala or something. It's just going to really add incredible richness to this dish, and we're just gonna let it saute and evaporate and really concentrate in flavors while we scrape any brown bits off the bottom of our inner pot there. That's looking good, so I'm gonna hit cancel to turn off the saute function here. There we go. And now, to my Instant Pot here, I'm going to add in 4 cups of low sodium beef broth for a total of 4.5 cups of liquid. There, take care of some of that steam there. You can see my face again. All right, and now to season this up. I am using a blend which is like my dried onion soup mix. I don't purchase dried onion soup mix. I make it myself. I encourage you to do the same. You probably have all the spices in your pantry and it'll cost you next to nothing to make. So it's 2 tablespoons of dried onion soup mix or 2 teaspoons of onion flakes, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. That celery seed is really gonna add a nice fresh flavor there. And 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Give that a stir. We're not using any canned condensed soup in this recipe, and so those spices there, they really help to replicate that flavor of a cream of mushroom soup without all the additives. For our noodles here, we're gonna add in 16 ounces of egg noodles. You could use whole wheat or regular. Just pop those in. And then you just kind of want to push them down just so that they're pretty well submerged in the liquid. It's okay if it's not perfect. As they heat, as the Instant Pot comes to pressure, that moist heat will cook the noodles up perfectly there. You do want to make sure they're in an even layer though. And that's it. We're gonna pop our lid on our Instant Pot. Make sure our venting knob is pointed towards sealed or our lid is locked. And then to set the cooking time, we're going to hit manual or pressure cook and use the plus or minus buttons to adjust until it reads 5 minutes. After the cooking time has elapsed, you're going to let pressure release for exactly 5 minutes. That will ensure the pasta is perfectly cooked. Then we're going to do a quick release of any remaining pressure by knocking our venting knob from the sealed to the venting position. This will take a little bit for pressure to be fully released. There we go. Pressure has finally released, and so you want to open up your Instant Pot. It smells so good. Our noodles are nice and soft. They've cooked up perfectly. I'm just giving it a stir here. There's going to be a little bit of residual liquid in the bottom of the pot. That's totally normal. It'll absorb here as we give everything a stir, and we want our stroganoff to be creamy, not dried out. All right, we have one final ingredient. We have to add some sour cream to give our stroganoff its creaminess that we all love. So I have 1 cup of full fat sour cream here. You could use full fat or reduced fat. Don't use fat free. It doesn't have the same flavor, and it doesn't have the same melting ability either. Just gonna stir that in. I hear my dog walking in the kitchen right now. She smelled the stroganoff and had to come running, begging for some. All right, stirred that up. That is looking good. And so now we're ready to dish it up. So easy, right? It is a 1-pot meal that everybody loves, and we didn't use any dried seasoning mixes or canned soup. We just used good, wholesome ingredients here, and it is going to be phenomenal. So let's dish this up. There's the ground beef in every bite. I'm making a mess, as I always do. This is truly a favorite at my house. It is like comfort food. My kids love it. My husband loves it. I love it. Clearly my dog thinks she loves it. You can top it with a little bit of parsley if you'd like for a little bit of color. I'm going to go in for a bite here. It is so, so good. One of the things I love about using the Instant Pot to make this recipe versus cooking it on the stovetop is that the noodles can cook up in the sauce, and so they absorb the delicious beef-rich broth, and they absorb some of the mushroom flavor and the ground beef. and a little bit of that wine. If you're not opposed to using a dry wine, it really does add a nice, rich flavor to the stroganoff. I promise you it'll be delicious even if you don't use it. This is so good. It's so easy. It's ready from start to finish in under 30 minutes, just like my recipe for Instant Pot tuna noodle casserole, which I'm going to share with you in my next video. Until then, happy cooking.